This is AP Environmental Science, Chapter 1, Part 4. And last time the video got cut off at this slide. YouTube only allows me to upload so many minutes at a time. And so we'll continue here. Last time we were talking about extinction. We mentioned how important biological diversity is to us and how many free ecosystem services it provides us. And that there's a background rate of extinction, and we have a value here estimated from fossil record and such. And we also have a current rate of extinction, which is quite a bit more, 1,000 to 10,000 species a year go extinct, mainly to human cause. And so we're going to describe a few of them for you, or I'm going to describe a few of them for you. So the first one, and this is only a few examples, there's many more, but I thought these were interesting. And so this one right here is the Javan tiger. So in Indonesia, this tiger in the 19th century was actually considered a pest, and there were so many of them that they sort of had to shoo them away and all sorts of things. And then as population increased, they lost their habitat due to agriculture for humans and that sort of thing. And then oftentimes they were hunted that way for a number of different reasons, but just simple safety for farmers and that sort of thing. And so in 1979 was the last one that they found. Sometimes in the 80s they found some tracks, but the last one spotted was 1979, and it is declared extinct officially now. This is the Caribbean monk seal, and in 1494 Columbus saw this Caribbean monk seal and ordered 8 of these monk seals killed for food and also for oil, and this practice sort of continued throughout ever since Columbus came, and just sort of continued on from there. And the last spotted was in 1954, and it was declared extinct in 2006. This is the passenger pigeon, and this one actually was in the United States. In the 1800s, there were flocks literally migrating in the millions. In fact, people would say that there would be a black sky that would come over, and that was the passenger pigeon. Then people started to hunt these pigeons and, in fact, eat them as well. And the last passenger pigeon died in 1914. This one is a more recent event, and this is a dolphin, a river dolphin in China. This dolphin, what's been affecting it is fishing boats, transportation down the river, and then even hydroelectric power. And we'll talk more about hydroelectric power and its effects on river and river life later. In 1980, they estimated there were about 400 individuals, and that was down from thousands of individuals. And the population then declined to 13 in 1997. That's as many as they could find. And in 2006, they established this species extinct. This species for dolphin is sort of unique. It does not see very well. Its eyesight is very poor, and oftentimes will run into fishing boats and nets and that sort of thing and can't get out. Well, not anymore because it's extinct. This is the golden toad. It's from Costa Rica. Back in the 1950s, literally there would be thousands of these golden toads in the cloud forest. And the last one spotted was 1989, and it's been declared extinct as well. This was for a number of reasons, not one individual reasons, but potentially a fungus, also climate change and some change in the pools or rainfall in the cloud forest that it lived in. So there's many species today, thousands of species today, again, that are going extinct, but thousands that are endangered of going extinct. And there's we'll discuss a whole process, a list that we form to try to protect them and it gives updates on their status and such. And so you can see here just some of the organisms, elephant, different seals, wolves, tigers, gorillas. This is a sad example. You know, all these species are endangered that you see here, and maybe in your lifetime you will see them go extinct, which is quite a sad thing, not only because these are beautiful organisms in and of itself, but also because they provide us with stable, healthy ecosystems. So some species saved. So humans also have intervened and saved different species. So they've had negative effect, but humans have also saved some species, like the American bison. So before Europeans arrived on the American plains, the bison was in huge herds, and then once Europeans came, we hunted them to practically nothing. It's surprising that they did not go extinct, particularly due to their genetic diversity, which was quite low because their population was low. But we've been able to manage this as humans and Americans, and have been able to get this American bison back and healthy, and in Yellowstone they're thriving again. This is the peregrine falcon, and this is the one that dives at unbelievable speeds, I think 200 plus miles an hour, to catch prey. And unfortunately, in the 30s, 40s, 50s, our use of DDT as a pesticide to kill all sorts of things, mosquitoes and such, caused their eggshells to become thin, and basically their numbers declined to such a degree that they also should have gone extinct. However, we've been able to get rid of DDT, and their populations and other bird populations have increased again. This is a snow leopard, again close to extinction, and we've managed to sort of bring their population up, and also the manatee. They're all fragile still populations, but they are now saved because of our intervention. So now we're going to talk about another environmental indicator. This is food production, and so we can tell the health of the earth by looking at food production, and also not only that, but just know how well the human species can survive just based off of food production, our ability to feed humans. And so food production is our ability to grow food to nourish human population. And so I forgot exactly when, but several tens of thousands of years ago, we developed agriculture and started to cultivate crops for feeding humans. And this is where food production started. And then as science and technology increased, the amount of food we could produce in a given area increased. And so the use of fertilizers and pesticides and herbicides dramatically increased our production, our worldwide grain production. And this is a very important thing, a very good thing, but it has its consequences as well. And so we'll talk about that a little bit later. This graph is in your book. It's figure 1.6. You can see on this side, on the y-axis, per capita grain production. You can see from the 1950s, in general, obviously some years, bad crops or whatever, it has increased till about 1980, and then it's begun to sort of level off, if not decline. And so we have a full chapter on this sort of thing, but due to soil erosion and quality of soil, because we're just pumping the soil full of chemicals and not taking care of it, grain production has declined. So as 1950 overall world production of grain has increased, the per capita, so the amount per person, has decreased for a number of reasons. One, population increase, so you have less available per person, but also because of the health of our soils, water systems, and that sort of thing. Another environmental indicator that we talk about in our 5 that we're going to discuss is average global surface temperatures and carbon dioxide concentrations. So you should have learned in your biology classes greenhouse gas. A greenhouse gas is what keeps us nice and cozy and warm. It traps heat at the surface of the earth, and that's very important. In fact, without greenhouse gases, our earth would not sustain life. It would be too cold or too hot if we had too many greenhouse gases. And so examples of greenhouse gas: CO2, H2O, methane, and N2O. And so these are all very important gases at the right levels. And so for the last 3.5 billion years, we've seen fluctuations naturally, but within the last 2 centuries, right, since the Industrial Revolution, we've seen an increase in greenhouse gas concentrations. Again, this is measurable. This is something we can measure through time, and we're seeing it continues to increase. This increase in greenhouse gases, particularly CO2 and methane, is anthropogenic. So that means it's derived from human activities. So increase of greenhouse gas is due to man this time around. And quick, this is the greenhouse effect. This diagram is important. I shouldn't have to explain it too much. Solar energy flows to the earth. Certain areas absorb it, vegetation, dark oceans, right? But other areas like any ice or white surfaces like concrete is going to reflect it, and so you're going to see it gets reflected back outside our atmosphere. This is the greenhouse gas sort of layer, right? CO2, H2O, methane. And so some of that heat, that solar energy that gets reflected off the caps and other reflective surfaces goes up through the atmosphere, but then gets reflected and absorbed in our greenhouse gas layer right here. So greenhouse gases at the right temperature, these heat trapping gases, are quite important. This is just a graph of the increase of both global temperatures in degrees Celsius on this side, and CO2, which is only one greenhouse gas that is increasing. All the other ones are increasing as well. CO2 parts per million. And so you see basically around the Industrial Revolution, you see an increase in both CO2 concentration and in global temperatures. We see that the temperature has gone up just over a degree Celsius, and as well CO2, one greenhouse gas of many, has increased, and now we're above 350 parts per million. I'm going to stop right here because I'm nearing my time limit. We'll continue on human population on the next video, and that'll be part 5.